Well, 26 laps complete here in the Music City 150. Welcome back to Nashville. Mike Hogwood, Dan Partis, Natalie Taylor with you, and Jamie Hayes is driving a Ken Schrader-owned car as our leader. We're under caution because of the crash here in turn 4 and the slide all the way down to turn 1 by Mike Olson. And Danny, he might have cut down a tire. Not very sure, but that's a sure sign when you get up into the wall that a tire's gone down on you.
Well, that's exactly what happened there, Mike. He blew a left rear tire or something on the left rear of that race car let go, because as you just seen the replay there in high definition, smoke coming out of the left rear of that car before he ever made that hard dart to the right. So looked like, see, the left rear tire is already down on that race car. So it appears that he lost something on the left rear, or maybe something underneath the car let go, like possibly there's an oil pump that drives the rear end cooler on that race car. Sometimes a hose will bust on one of them, or you lose the rear end cooler and it'll just dump oil under the left rear tire.
Well, one thing you don't like to see is when you can't roll the car back to pit road, because while Jamie Hayes is running around, look at Mike Olson's car. It's on the hook. So the night might be done for Mike Olson, and what a tough break this would be for the points. When you only got 13 races, you really can't afford too much of a night like this one.
No, you can't. And listening to Mike on the radio, he said, I'm not sure what happened. Something snapped. He said, I was wide open on the throttle coming off a corner exit. It just took a hard right. He says, I don't know if I blew a left rear tire or something broke in the back. It just took turn right on me. Take a look at this replay again. You'll see as you watch him off corner exit about right in through here, right when he gets straight, you'll see some smoke coming out of the left rear. Right there, you see smoke coming out of the left rear corner. Looks like something maybe blew under there. See smoke again out of the left rear, and then his right front's in the wall. So definitely a mechanical issue.
And while that's happening, there's Jesus Hernandez. NASCAR has just posted him. They've told him to come down on pit road. You're going to see his crew check for a leak on that car. There had been some complaints from other drivers that he was putting some fluid down on the racetrack. So you see the crew there looking underneath the car, trying to see if indeed there is a leak, and it will have to satisfy that NASCAR inspector before they'll let him go back out on the racetrack.
Yeah, they're looking underneath the middle part section towards the rear of the car. Possibly that would be a transmission, or maybe, again, something with the rear end cooler in the back of the car that's dumping some oil. So they're trying to dig around the bottom of that race car and see where it's coming from.
Jesus Hernandez out of Fresno, California. Young driver, 10th in points. He's one of those Drive for Diversity drivers out of Ted Ginn's racing shops. That's a good machine, but it looks like another long night for the driver, Jesus Hernandez. He was 18th last week in Thompson, but his last top 10 finish was at Stafford, where he was 6th. His best run was a 3rd place finish at Iowa, but it looks like a top 10 tonight as NASCAR has called him on pit road to check for a leak.
Tough deal. Talking to Richard Berghoff, the crew chief on that car, he said, man, I feel really good about this race here tonight. We wrecked our other car last week, and this is our second car, and we went out and practiced. We were real happy with our practice times, and unfortunate, looked like some type of oil leak. Again, if you could have an oil leak in the front very nose of this race car, the problem is at high speeds that oil runs all the way back down through the middle of the race car, and you really have a hard time trying to figure out where it comes from.
And the driver of this car is a guy a lot of people are really high on. He is going to run some Truck Series races this year as well as some ARCA, but boy, it's really tough early in the race, isn't it, when you have a leak and you have to come on pit road, and it kind of ruins your night early. He and Mike Olson are not going to leave Nashville tonight with great feelings.
You're right. It's very frustrating, too, because if you can't find it, you question NASCAR and say, is there something really even leaking on this race car, but you can't get back out on the racetrack until they tell you.
Well, he's losing a lot of laps. We are still under caution. You see the light is on that pace car as the cleanup has continued down on the front stretch. And I think it looks like it's about clean now. And yep, the light has gone out, so we'll go green next time, and it gives us a chance to explain the restart rules here in this series if you're not familiar with them. Leaders are side by side with the lead cars on the inside. So what that means is that Jamie Hayes and Ruben Pardo will start side by side, and then it's Peyton Sellers, who we've not talked a lot about tonight, along with Matt Kobaluk on row 2. So it's going to be an interesting restart. Starting the race, remember Jamie Hayes was on the outside. It did not get a good start when he was alongside Sean Kay. So now we'll see what he does, Dan, here on the inside.
I'll tell you, he's feeling a lot more confident. You know, these last few laps, he's been real good. The car's feeling good. He's able to drive it up high and low. And that does so much for a driver, especially if you can get a few laps like that under your belt, especially on a restart like this. gives you that confidence to really drive down into that first corner just really hard and stand on the gas and know that it's going to stick.
30 laps into this 150 lap event, and we're ready to go green again. Jamie Hayes will restart the race, and the green is back out. This time a much better restart for Jamie Hayes, and look at Peyton Sellers tucking in right behind him. Peyton Sellers, the former Whelen late model national champion, ran in the West Series last year where he was Rookie of the Year, and right now threatening Jamie Hayes to take the lead. That's Peyton Sellers in the 83 out of Danville, Virginia. And for the first time tonight, Peyton Sellers is out in front.
Wow, he fired out of there like a cannon. This car was wrecked last week. They took the car tops in Connecticut. They worked on it all week. They got done with it 4 o'clock this morning, put it in the hauler and headed to Nashville here. And look at that, no better feeling than be leading the race.
Yeah, Peyton was telling me they've only got one car, and they didn't really plan to run the whole season, but he's done so well in the points. He's 4th in the point standings that they've gone out and gotten a backup car, but this is the car that they want to run in every race. And Peyton Sellers has a chance to make up some ground tonight with Mike Olson 2nd in points, falling out of the race early.
Peyton Sellers and his brother, H.C. Sellers, is the crew chief on this car. His brother works full-time on the race car all week. Peyton works with his dad in a construction company, works in the construction company during the week, comes in at night, works on the race car. His brother H.C. does all the wrenching on this race car, does a fine job. What a great family effort.
Yeah, and two brothers are extremely close, and they ran so well at their home track in South Boston, Virginia, where he won that national championship. More on Peyton. Here's Natalie.
Yeah, guys, talking about the national championship in 05, well, Peyton's entire crew from that championship is here tonight. And he's not the only one who's here tonight, just to prove that is. Also, his sponsor is here. So Peyton was so excited, couldn't wait to run, and just looking forward to getting out front. And guess what? I think the people in the crowd are going to be pretty excited with where he's running.
I'll tell you what else it is. It's a little loud down there, too. As you can
Stay
hear.
high, stay high, stay high.
Something happened to Peyton Sellers there that last, Mike.
It did, man. I don't know what happened.
Way back.
Oh, he's not under power. Peyton Sellers is in trouble. He's broken something, Dan. You can see the sparks coming out of his race car. There we got it. Look at that.
Wow, he looks like he's possibly broke the track bar on that race car, or something broke on the right rear of that race car because it's leaning hard to the right. Not sure if it was a jack bolt cup or something on that race car. It appears to be way down on the right-hand side of that car. Tough break for Peyton Sellers, running so strong early in the day.
Well, you just taken the lead, and while you heard Natalie talking,
right front tire down.
Right front tire goes down. This is a rough racetrack, Dan. Make no doubt about it. I mean, everybody's talked about it. This pavement is anything but smooth, and it really wears on tires. Let's see if we can see what happens.
Rerun. He gets down the corner. Looks like the right front starts to let go right here, because obviously he was hooked to the bottom of the racetrack, and he just loses the right front tire as he exits turn 2 and goes down the backstretch. There's nothing you can do as a driver. Done a good job of holding on to that race car because he tore it up last week. Thank goodness he didn't tear the race car up here today. Talking to Paul Andrews, crew chief at Tim Andrews, he said, Dan, I'm not sure what's going to happen in the long run here. He said, we ate a tire up in 80 laps. We did a cumulative run of 80 laps, 2020, 2020, and the right front tire was totally blistered and destroyed. He said, if we've got a little bit too much camber in the right front tire, we will tear the inside of that tire up and it will blow. So some of these teams may be having a tough time here late in the race here